How to make $100,000 your first year wholesaling real estate. What's up YouTube, Biz Matthew here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to break down what are the steps that you should be doing in order to get you to that six-figure mark in your wholesale real estate business. Now, for me, it took me about 8 months to get my very first wholesale deal. But once I got my very first wholesale deal, I went a whole year and I crossed that $100,000 mark in assignment fees, starting from my first deal till a year later. And so these are the steps that I took in order to make that amount my first year wholesaling real estate after my very first wholesale deal. There's something that switches when you get that very first wholesale deal that really elevates you. And I want you all to learn from my mistakes, so that maybe it takes you 2 or 3 months to get your very first wholesale deal. And by the end of that year, from starting, you can close 6 figures worth of assignment fees. Now, if you all find value from this video, please subscribe to this channel. Comment down below any questions that you have on wholesaling real estate, and be sure to like this video. So closing $100,000 worth of assignment. The first step that I want to talk about, or one thing that I want you all to avoid that I didn't avoid in my early months of wholesaling real estate, was not switching marketing techniques and also not being consistent. So I started with texting and then I moved to direct mail because texting wasn't working for my market. And I was just learning online and had all of these different gurus telling me do this, do that. And I kind of followed the shiny object, wherever that was, the new marketing technique. And it just wasn't ready for my market and wasn't really hitting, and it wasn't getting responses. And on top of that, I wasn't being consistent with the follow-up with these text marketing techniques. And so being consistent is key. Once I started direct mail, I put myself on a schedule. I was like, okay, you got to push out 1,000 letters every week for the next 2 months, right? I set aside some money. I was like, you're going to spend this amount of money. Matthew, you have to make it work. And then when I closed my first deal, I closed it for about $11,000. And so you can imagine, if I'm able to close about $11,000 every month, that can more than make $100,000 for the year. So how to make $100,000? First, you got to get that very first wholesale deal. And those were the mistakes I want you all to avoid and things to do in order to get that very first wholesale deal. Stick to a marketing plan. If it doesn't work out for like a month or 2, go on to the next marketing technique, and then be consistent with your marketing. You can't just try it and do it haphazardly like I did early on. You have to stick to it and see what type of responses you get and if you're actually getting feedback from sellers. And then the next thing is just be consistent. Be consistent with your marketing, with following up with sellers, and your education of this business. Now, once you're able to get that very first wholesale deal, now you need to repeat exactly what you did to get that very first wholesale deal. Yeah, because I think a lot of times people want to start hiring, people just want to start systemizing. Like, take it easy, especially for that second, that third deal. Just do exactly what you did and just refine it. Okay, now you have experience. Now you know what to do. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, okay, I know what to do. I know how many letters I need to mail out in order to get a wholesale deal. Boom, boom, boom. I'm paying it every single week. Got a wholesale deal maybe about 2 months later. And it was actually a pretty decent sized deal for my second deal. I think it was around $15,000 for that second deal. So it was another good deal. And what I did was I just learned, okay, this is how I got my very first wholesale deal. And the thing is, with my very first wholesale deal, I said it took me 8 months, but when I really started to take action and be serious, it probably took me 2 to 3 months to close that deal. And so with the next deal, it was a short amount of time, maybe 2 months afterwards. And then I did have a little bit of break, a couple of months, but I was still doing my marketing. I was still being consistent. I was still educating myself. And then I got that third deal. And now you need to implement systemizing, hiring a cold caller if you're cold calling. Now it's time to get off the phones yourself. You have experience, you have months, you have hours, you have thousands of calls that you've been on. Now you have to concentrate on finding good cold callers that you can train, that can be in your business, that has good accents and can do well for your business. Systemize. Another thing to really systemize it is just have your marketing just on autopilot. I don't know if there's something that, like cold calling, they know their hours, they know their schedule. Or if you're still doing that, you know your hours, your schedule. Mailers, maybe have somebody else run that every single week for you, because you need to concentrate on going on appointments and things of that nature. And then after after a few more deals, let's say after 6 or 7 months and you're closing consistent deals, maybe hire someone on to go on these appointments with you in that first year so they can look at the property, they can, teach them about comping and everything like that, and then you can hire them to go on appointments. And so you can be the CEO of your business by the end of that year, making your first 6 figures in wholesaling real estate. The other thing that you should consider when you're trying to make that $100,000 wholesaling real estate is to connect with other wholesalers. I know for me, after about my 3rd deal, I came across more unique properties that maybe for the past previous deals I just ignored, but now I said, hey, I need to learn what to do with this type of property. And there are some other bigger wholesalers in my town that I can partner with, that I can JV with, and we can split the profit 50-50. And that's exactly what I did. I remember there was a burnt house that maybe in the past I would have passed on, but I knew it was a good deal. I partnered with a bigger wholesaler in my town and made some money. Whereas before I would have not made any money. You need to connect with other wholesalers so you can partner, make that 6 figures and make it more consistently. Another thing is working with agents, have them bring you off market deals and seeing what you can add to their business. And so they can be able to send you those deals, or even, wholesale properties that are listed. Or maybe you come across a seller and they are just not a good fit for a wholesale deal, but maybe for a retail deal. Maybe, you get your license and you can get a kickback because you referred this property to another agent and you can get commission for that deal. So you need to have more exit strategies the more you get into this business. And that's honestly one of the mistakes I made in my business when I was building up, when I was getting consistent deals. I didn't get to that point where I explored more exit strategies. I stuck to wholesaling or partnering with other wholesalers, but I didn't look into creative financing or working with real estate agents on that end. But I recommend you all to do that in order to cross that 6 figure and consistently cross that 6 figure. And so looking at creative deals, also sub to seller financing, lease options. And so that's another exit strategy that will bring more income in. And so connecting with those people, and also during that year of you making $100,000, what will bring you to that edge is also connecting more with your cash buyers and increasing your cash buyer list, because early on you may be selling to one person and you need to expand that list because there are people with bigger pocket, right? There are people that may not necessarily have the same exit strategy as that first cash buyer who just wants to flip the property and make a profit. And so you have to find these other types of investors that may be okay with paying a little bit higher because they plan on just holding the property forever. So they don't care about flipping the property and being at such a steep discount. And so making $100,000, yeah, that's a great place to start. And I think mindset is very important. You have to understand your why and you have to manage your money the right way. And so when you're making money, let's say you get a $10,000 check, you never got a check that much. Don't blow it off. You have to set a. So for example, when I made like 1,000, I was like, okay, I spent this money getting to this deal. I'm that amount of money again deal. And so whether that's 2 or 3 out of that $10,000, pretty good. I mean, that's 70% off of that. You need to set that aside into your next deal, and money aside for money. You may not get a deal, or you get one deal and it's not as it was the previous few months. Have a cash reserve in order to tap in order to, keep your marketing on to help you go across that 6-figure mark. So I hope these different tips and advice and suggestions to make $100,000 in wholesaling real estate will help you all cross that threshold, because I know it's very rewarding and I know a lot of you all can do that. And honestly, 100,000 now is not super easy to make, but it's attainable, right? I think now $1 million is now more common than $100,000 for a lot of businesses and people wanting to make that amount. And so after you make that 6-figure mark, hopefully you make that 7-figure mark pretty soon afterwards. All right, make sure you all like this video, comment down below and subscribe.